Hello students, thanks for joining me in the today's lecture about intercultural communication and how it's influenced by prejudice and stereotypes. In your future working life, you will need intercultural communication skills to communicate with people from other cultures. Prejudice refers to a preconceived judgment directed towards certain people based on their membership in a particular group. To keep it simple, prejudice is a tendency to over-categorize, and they can be based, for example, on sex, religion, nationality, or gender.
And what are the reasons why prejudice do exist? I mean, where do the prejudice and stereotypes even come from, and who created them?
Well, that's a really good question. In most cases, historical backgrounds or religious or political attitudes are responsible for the judgment of a particular group. And a stereotype is the opinion about an individual or a group of people that can be positive or negative, but it's often over dramatized. It's a belief learned very early on and known by everyone, so they are easy to remember, which is the reason why they are passed on from generation to generation. And prejudice, on the other hand, is an unfavorable attitude towards one or more people because of their belonging to a culture, race, sexuality, or maybe sex. So a prejudice is rather individual, whereas stereotype is descriptive and collective. I think a really good example is the French-German War and its impact on the relationship between these cultures. France sent around 100,000 soldiers to occupy the Germany's Rhineland, and 20% of these soldiers came from African countries, so they had a dark skin. German politicians and also the media claimed that these dark-skinned soldiers are systematically raping German women and children and that they are a threat for the so-called German race. Moreover, these soldiers were originally from France, were described as romantics who want to take the woman away from the German man. So the Germans were afraid of French people because politicians have formed a negative and threatening stereotype. Of course, French politicians did the same. They also formed negative German stereotypes to justify the attack on Germany. And these stereotypes, which were shaped in history by politicians, have lasted a very long time.
Oh yes, I have heard of this. At that time, the Germans also printed posters or acted in theatres in which the French people were portrayed as stupid, flirting, snake-eating, and almost barbarian people. And even after the Franco-German friendship was closed, the hatred on both sides continued for a long time because these stereotypes were still so present in people's mind.
Yeah, that is the problem. Once stereotypes or prejudice has been formed, it's difficult to get rid of it. Fortunately, nowadays we have most of the prejudice out of the way.
And Professor, do you have a situation in your life where you have been influenced by prejudice?
Let me think about this. Actually, there was a situation, and I remember it for the rest of my life. Yes.
Hey Nicolas, you wanted to meet again before the meeting with our French partner. What do you have planned?
Hello, nice of you to be on time. Well, I think we should already work ahead and prepare for all possible problems so that we can finish the project on time. As you know, French people can speak English. Probably our business partner will be late too. Apparently, French people don't have clocks at home.
Oh, yes, that's a good point. Probably we both have to do everything by ourselves anyway. French people are not hardworking and can stand the German pressure to perform at all.
Yes, you say it. They are more busy with romance and food than productive work. Hopefully, he will at least take some work off our hands. Well, we will see if he even comes to the meeting today and hasn't forgot it.
Yes.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Yes, me too.
Very happy to work with you today.
Yes, me too. Please take a seat.
Okay, thank
So
you.
my business partner works in Asia at the moment, so he's on Zoom. But of course, we
So
can-
yeah, where to start? Because we have a lot to talk about today. So I think we can discuss the different opportunities we have, but we need to do more market research before we decide on the product packaging. And then next week we can have another meeting about our marketing strategy. And what do you think?
For me, it's fun. Yes, I think it's the most strategic. I was going to do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think we'll be very efficient and we'll even have the time to get to know each other better. And after a long day, I love to do
Yeah, of
something.
course, it will give me the greatest pleasure. We French like to have some time left to rest, to discuss with colleagues, and to have a little coffee after having worked well. I've prepared some notes and I've already thought about the project, and I look forward to sharing them with you. So, yeah, let's start.
Wow, the meeting is very effective. I should not have thought in this bad way about our French business partner. He seems really smart and diligent.
So I think we have worked well for today. Our project is starting to take shape, and I'm very happy with the work you have done, my friends. So now I think a break is needed.
Yes.
Yes, indeed, I wrote on the compliment. I'm very happy to be able to collaborate with you. Thank you for your organization, your rigor, and your sympathy.
To tell you the truth, at the beginning, we thought that you were going to arrive late, is that you wouldn't have the motivation to work, and you were going to do the strict minimum. But in the end, I'm pleasantly surprised, and I congratulate you for your involvement and your decision making, which shows that prejudice are not to be trusted. I loved working with you, and it's not over yet. So, do you want to go to the restaurant today in the evening?
I couldn't agree more with my teammate. I would love to join you today in the evening, but I am not in Germany at the moment, as you know.
Yeah, with great pleasure. I was going to suggest you, to be honest, in France, we have also a lot of stereotypes, of course. For example, many French people think that the typical German eats sausages every day, often drink beers, and does not take time for romance.
These events apply for some Germans.
Yeah, that's the same in France. After all, most prejudices have a kernel of truth. Nevertheless, we should try not to let them influence us too much.
Yes, so I think we can end the meeting today and let's discuss it further tonight in the restaurant.
Okay, sounds great. See you later. See you tonight.
Bye. It's so funny. It seems you were an unloved student by teacher with all your pranks.
Well, on the one hand, they were hating me, but on the other hand, they were laughing to my pranks and my jokes, so yeah, it was okay.
My son was recently sent home for hiding the blackboard chalk and trying to convince the teacher he hated himself. The whole class was laughing about the teacher, and then
I have to tell you a similar story.
Stop, man, you are always interrupting. It's very unpolite. My business partner was very angry about this during the meeting today.
Sorry, I don't want to be rude. In France, we don't wait the end of the sentence. We just interrupt when we have a similar idea or story to tell. I will try to listen more. Can you finish your story?
Yes, thank you. Sometimes it can be hard to avoid conflicts in intercultural communication because you are used to rules from your home country, and yes, I can understand.
We were talking about a lot of things this evening. Sometimes he still interrupted me, but immediately apologized. I could see over it after his explanation and concentrate on the essential to spend a nice evening with a new friend.
As you can see from the little story I've just told you, I've learned from my mistakes and understood that you shouldn't rely on stereotypes that reduce a person or a country and which are difficult to get rid of. I really had a bad image of the French at work, even if I had never worked with them. It was all cliché. By the way, I'm still in contact with him today and I often ask him for advice on my work whenever I want. Does someone of you has an idea to avoid prejudice and conflict situation in intercultural communication?
Yes, so I think to avoid prejudice, you should not believe everything you are told about a person and learn not to judge them before you have even met them. You cannot give your opinion on a product, for example, if you have not tasted it before, and conflicts can be avoided on the one hand by being unbased, and on the other hand, you should know how cultural differences affect intercultural communication and adapt your behavior instead of expecting others to adapt to you.
Very good. However, prejudice will always exist, so it's very difficult to get rid of them. And reasons for intercultural conflicts can be misinterpretation of cultural practices, cultural ignorance, or lack of sensitivity. But the conflict itself can be positive. It is a constructive way, so you can identify the misunderstanding and ensure good interaction with each other.